CTV News with Ricardo, Veneza.
They're going to be back out. Why don't you guys come over for a barbecue tonight? You know, I'll take care of you better than the police. And thank God the police got you and I never did.
Fiery Premier Doug Ford again rants about Canada's bail system after he says he was targeted by alleged auto thieves. Good evening. 4 people are charged after the Premier says masked suspects tried to steal a car from out front of his home this morning. We've got those details coming up in just a moment. But first, a budget day for school boards here in Windsor, Essex. And balancing the books is the name of the game to avoid provincial supervision. Robert Lothian joins us with more on that tonight. Robert.
Ricardo, a series of cuts leaves the school board's deficit just short of $1 million. It's the latest step in a multi-year effort to balance the budget or face provincial action.
5, 6, 7. That's carried.
The Greater Essex County District School Board will enter another year treading through rough financial waters. Trustees approved a $988,000 deficit for the upcoming school year.
There are several areas where the board experiences funding deficits because the funding allocation is inadequate to support the current expense structure.
The public board continues to navigate budgetary pressures trustees say come from underfunding and waning enrollment. Staffing will be cut, international baccalaureate programs will be phased out, and special education programming like the RISE program will be scaled back.
What we have is an inadequate funding model that leaves our board and every other board across the province at risk for decisions that are made at tables that we don't even have a seat at.
Trustees are planning to send a letter to provincial and federal officials demanding change.
I support this budget and I'm grateful for it, but I think it stinks. It really does. We're making decisions that don't support kids the way we would like to.
The union representing the board's elementary teachers says that doesn't go far enough.
A letter is just not going to do. They send letters to the government every year about the funding formula, and again, we have not had a change to the funding formula.
The board needs to reach a balanced budget by 2026-27 or risk provincial action.
The experience that other boards have had with supervision is that the ministry comes in and makes decisions without any consideration of local conditions or local needs of the community, and so I don't see how that would serve our students in the best way.
The board's treasurer says there is a strong possibility for more cuts in order to balance the budget. Meantime, at the Catholic School Board tonight, trustees approved a balanced draft budget due for final approval on the 24th, maintaining commitments to areas like special education, mental health, and faith formation. Ricardo.
Okay, Robert, thank you for that. That's CTV's Robert Lothian tonight. Well, now back to Premier Doug Ford's self-described rant against Canada's bail system. As our Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris reports, he'll be pressuring the Prime Minister for reform after claims 4 masked suspects came to his home.
I get to have Doug Ford's rant for a little bit.
The Premier sounding off on the justice system, demanding bail reform from the federal government. That's what he revealed while he was asleep early this morning in his Etobicoke home.
4 thugs come racing down my street, masks on, ready to take the car out of the driveway.
Toronto police say their officers were in the area of Lawrence and Royal York around 12:30 and spotted that vehicle slowing down as it approached a driveway. Police say when they stopped the car, one of the people inside bolted. The officers caught up with them. Allegedly inside the car, a programmable master key and a device to do it. 4 people have been charged, including a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old. The 2 men charged have been released for now under house arrest.
We need to start throwing these people in jail. This is turning into a lawless society.
Ford outraged that all but 1 of 9 people charged in a record-breaking drug bust in Peel Region last week have been released on bail.
500 kilos of cocaine that could ultimately kill people, and judges slap on the wrist. Okay, little Johnny, you go out there and deal more drugs.
Former Toronto Police Detective Mark Mendelson says the Premier's tapping into widespread frustration, but even with criminal code changes,
it's still going to have to get through the Supreme Court Court of Canada at the end of the day, who may deem it to be unconstitutional.
Doug Ford singled out a man in Vaughan who allegedly fired multiple shots as would-be thieves tried to steal his Lamborghini last week. That man faces gun charges, including unauthorized possession of a prohibited or restricted weapon.
I'm going to hold a fundraiser for lawyer fees for him. He should get a medal for standing up. It's like down in the U.S., we should have the castle law.
An approach Mendelson says leads to unnecessary death and injury.
You are allowed to use as much force as you feel is necessary, even though it's not a direct threat to you or your family or anybody that's with you, is a scary proposition.
There's no evidence the suspects in Vaughan were trying to break into a home or hurt anyone while stealing the car.
Defending yourself is entirely based on what's proportional and what's reasonable. In a case like this, it has been determined that a firearm was not the appropriate one.
Mendelson isn't sure the Premier offering financial help to someone who's been criminally charged is a wise political move.
Does he get to pick and choose who he thinks is innocent before there's a trial? I think that's problematic as well.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
In LaSalle, OPP report a $200,000 backhoe stolen in the Greater Toronto area was found on a barge in the Detroit River earlier this month. That's landed a 42-year-old LaSalle man with charges. Well, officials confirm an inmate has died at Windsor's Southwest Detention Center less than a week after an inquest wrapped into the death of a Windsor man at the jail. Windsor police say they are investigating the death after first responders were called to the jail last night. The Ministry of the Solicitor General confirmed the death but won't comment on the circumstances. Now, the inquest into a previous death at the jail returned 22 recommendations to prevent similar loss of life. Meantime, Windsor police are rolling out a brand new 911 service. You can find the full list of the benefits to residents over at our website. That's ctvnewswindsor.ca. Now to Windsor's troubled Sandpoint Beach, where new fence poles have been erected today. As our Bombella Chico tells us, it's part of the latest effort to avoid further death at the summer hotspot.
I never thought, and those big posts, no. And the posts they're putting in scaring him, so we have to leave.
Pat Morley-Cook was at Sandpoint Beach this morning when workers started installing fence posts.
It's really sad to see that going, but they have to do something to keep people safe right now. But there's other solutions to this, and they didn't look at that.
What we're really missing here is the quality of life that we kind of gave up to our residents. What we're missing here is the investment, the development, the tourism.
A 15-year-old boy drowned in May. 2 men in their 20s fell victim in the same area in 2024. The issue is the dangerous current. The Windsor Port Authority estimates it flows and pushes downward at 10 to 15 kilometers per hour. Just up the shore at Stop 26, the authority estimates it's half the speed with no undertow. That's why Mayor Yanni feels the beach should be moved.
We know this information. We can engineer it so that it is safe. We can do our best as a city, and we can make this area, this park, a gem that it should be, period.
City officials say Stop 26 will remain open for kayaks and canoes, but there will be signs discouraging swimming in the river.
There's nothing to stop a swimmer once they enter that area of traveling west and finding themselves in the same situation that previous swimmers have where there's been a tragedy.
Michael Chandler, Commissioner of Community Services, says the fencing will be fully installed by Wednesday and lifeguards will remain on site until the end of the week.
They're going to continue that process of educating the public as they arrive to the beach and let them know that they can enjoy the sand, enjoy the park, but there won't be any access to the water.
And Chandler is hopeful residents don't hop the fence.
They're taking their lives into their own hands if they do that, and all we can do is educate them that they should make the choice not to enter the water.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
Striking hotel workers in downtown Windsor have overwhelmingly voted against a new contract the employer called its final offer. The nearly 40 unionized staff at the Best Western Plus Waterfront Hotel have been on strike for more than 2 weeks now, pushing for better wages. Ironwood Management operates the hotel and requested the Ontario Labour Relations Board hold a vote, saying it would give workers the best private sector hotel compensation in the region. But 90% of members rejected the so-called final offer, and Unifor Local 195 leadership says the bargaining team remains open to new talks.
We are hoping instead everybody digging their heel in the ground that the employer and the union get back to the table and try to find a mutually agree, something we can live and member can ratify. Same token, the company returned to full operation, utilizing a very skilled workforce. Some of them been here 41 years.
Today is the 79th anniversary of a deadly tornado that ripped through the region, killing 17 people. The 1946 tornado is still considered today to be the most devastating tornado ever seen, not just in Windsor, but in Canada. CTV's Travis Fortnum revisits the story for us tonight, speaking with a 91-year-old woman who still remembers the dark clouds as they rolled in.
June 17th, 1946, a deadly tornado tears through Windsor, ripping apart some 400 homes and killing 17 people. Catherine Hart was 12 years old.
It was in the afternoon and it started getting dark. And then all of a sudden the winds were blowing and it was dark outside.
The tornado touched down in Michigan, crossed the river and slammed into Windsor's Brighton Beach neighborhood. From there, it cut a path through what's now LaSalle, crossed Malden Road and Huron Church, tearing through South Windsor before losing strength into Tecumseh.
The tornado winds were very, very strong. It's really bad to see all the damage that it done. A tree had a piece of wood right in the tree. That's how strong that wind was.
Hart lived here in the area of Walker and Tecumseh that day when the tornado touched down 78 years ago. It looks a lot different than it did back then, but what remains is the memory of the destruction she saw that day.
That debris from the location where the tornado hit was found quite far away, all the way to Merlin. There were canceled checks, there were a pair of trousers, there were all kinds of things that were found really far away from the tornado. So that just gives you a sense of how powerful this tornado was.
Rated a 4 on the Fujita scale, it remains the most powerful tornado to hit Windsor, with winds gusting up to 250 kilometers an hour. To this day, it's still ranked the 3rd deadliest tornado in Canadian history.
When you get up to F4, even things like pavement can be lifted up. So, I mean, it's very powerful winds. Not much survives.
It caused more than $9.5 million in damage. That's over $170 million today. Along with the 17 lives lost, at least 100 people were injured.
It was unreal.
Travis Fortnum, CTV News.
Well, the incredible power, awesome power of Mother Nature there on display. Well, Stellantis Canada is marking a major milestone in Windsor today. The automaker celebrating a century of operations in the country with its roots firmly dug in the Rose City. It was June 17, 1925. Chrysler Canada was officially incorporated in Windsor. The company, now going by Stellantis, of course, is hosting a special family day on Sunday at Windsor Assembly for workers, retirees, and their families to celebrate. The Chrysler brand is also marking the occasion with a new commemorative edition of the Windsor-built Pacifica, styled in red, white, and blue with hybrid options. Stellantis has built more than 25 million vehicles in Canada and employs nearly 9,000 people across the country. Well, after the break, CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joins us with a look at this sweltering heat that's going to be coming our way in the region.
I think I'm still kind of in disbelief.
Still ahead, our Stephanie Mazzotti introduces us to Windsor's budding science star and the major accolade she's bringing back home. CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joining us now for a check of the forecast. Gary, boy, oh boy, was it a hot one, a humid one out there today, and it looks to be the start of a trend in the region.
You're right about that. Good evening, Ricardo. Good evening, folks. We're talking about temperatures being several degrees above seasonal. Today felt like about 36 to 38, depending on where you were this afternoon. It's been warm, essentially morning through the midday, afternoon, evening, now late night. And it will continue to be warm through the overnight. 29.1 degrees Celsius unofficially. No record set. Boy, 2018, 36.5. But you know what? We will see low to mid 30s next week. Break that down for you in just a moment. We saw some showers with the passing of this system. It was moving right through the heart of Ohio into western parts of New York State and Pennsylvania. Showers across portions of extreme southwestern Ontario, in particular for Pelee Island and the point itself, Leamington, as well as Kingsville getting into it. But the next system that pushes through will bring increasing cloudiness for Wednesday afternoon, showers and thunderstorms with gusty winds, and we'll wait and see tomorrow afternoon if we get into any severe varieties of these cells moving through, and that would warrant watches and warnings from Environment Canada. Most of the heaviest rain lies to the south of Lake Erie and to the east of us, headed towards the GTA and the Golden Horseshoe in general. The worst case scenario is that we could have severe thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon and evening with heavy downpours, and I can never rule out the possibility of a tornadic event. Again, worst case scenario, but we'll wait and see as things unfold. The overnight temperature 20 degrees before dawn Wednesday morning, feels like 28 with a 30% chance of at least an occurrence of showers. Speaking of showers, we'll see 30% chance through the morning and midday, up to 60, maybe 70% by 4 to 5 p.m. and holding at that stat through the evening. Again, 30 degrees tomorrow. That's about 4 degrees above seasonal, feeling like 38. More showers for Thursday morning, dropping down to 26 seasonal, and then it just gets warmer. Summer starts 10:42 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Friday evening, the first full day Saturday, 31 sunny. Showers possibly on Sunday, 33, followed by 33 and 34. The Humidex values for Saturday through to Tuesday of next week are in that 37 to 42 range. The heat is on, no doubt.
It was sweaty today, Gary. Thank you for that. Well, Canada's main stock index closing down today, 27 points. The same for the Dow and the NASDAQ, except by more, 299 points for the Dow, 180 for the NASDAQ. The dollar losing 1/4 cent today as well. The rest at 73.51 cents U.S. Gold down more than $10 an ounce, while oil surges $3.02 a barrel.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
On day 5 of the hot war between Israel and Iran, there's no sign of a cool down. Iran has lobbed another wave of missiles at Tel Aviv and the northern part of Israel, while Israel is hitting deeper into Iran. CTV's Adrian Gabriel has more on the Canadians who are caught in the middle.
This missile launch from an unknown location inside Iran claims to show an Islamic Revolutionary Guard warhead slicing through the sky towards Israel. At an Israeli air base, an F-15 Eagle fighter jet takes off, strapped with munitions, destined for targets in Iran. This young child in a bicycle helmet is among those surveying this gaping crater in central Israel north of Tel Aviv from an airstrike Tuesday morning. Canadian-Israeli Raphael Posh is a paramedic who's worked in multiple conflict zones. The father of 2 from Toronto says Iran's counterattack feels far more threatening than what he and his family have grown accustomed to in recent years.
If one of those missiles hit, it takes down a city block, as opposed to if one of the missiles from Hamas would hit, it takes out an apartment, a room, a hole in a building, depending on the size of the rocket. So there's definitely a lot more of a worry, and there's a lot more of a feeling of urgency.
Hamilton, Ontario doctor Paned Baranju took this video following an Israeli airstrike on a building down the street from his family's apartment in Tehran.
It's terrifying, and I was only probably 700 meters away from the blast side.
Baranju is one of the fortunate few to have been allowed to cross into Turkey at a land border. Forced to leave his extended family behind, he took this video of his last moments in Iran as the flash of rockets could still be seen in the sky.
And then I had to sort of leave and say goodbye to them in Tehran, which was very emotional. Especially my mom, because she hugged me and said, "This is the last time I see you." It's possible, but as sad as it is for me to say.
As of today, at least 224 people have been killed in Iran, 24 in Israel, since the fighting began 5 days ago. On his own social media site, President Donald Trump posting that the U.S. knows exactly where Iran's supreme leader is located, calling him an easy target, though vowing not to kill him, saying, quote, "At least not yet." Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Okay, closer to home, despite President Donald Trump's early departure from the G7 Leaders Summit, it continued in the Canadian Rockies today. The focus on defense and security, especially as it relates to the war in Ukraine. Here's CTV's Mike Couture.
With a heavy heart, Ukraine's president came to Kananaskis hoping for more support from G7 leaders. But the latest attack cast a shadow over his visit.
Our families had a very difficult night. It's one of the biggest attacks from the very beginning of this war. 440 Shaheeds, Iranian drones, and 32 missiles.
Inviting Volodymyr Zelensky was part of a show of support from world leaders gathered here as the war with Russia rages on. And Canada has gone one step further, announcing today military aid and sanctions.
We are providing additional military assistance, drones, helicopters, broader munitions, over $2 billion worth of assistance directly to Ukraine.
And there's a $2.3 billion loan to help Ukraine rebuild its infrastructure. Canada is also slapping sanctions on 40 Russian entities, a number of individuals, and over 200 vessels in its shadow fleet. The United Kingdom also announced similar sanctions on 20 ships, including oil tankers. But the immediate need in Ukraine is that military might.
It's important for our soldiers to be strong at the battlefield, to stay strong until Russia will be ready for the peace negotiations.
The Prime Minister's office confirms the $2 billion in military aid is helping Canada to reach its NATO spending target. And that earned Carney praise from the head of the alliance.
The fact that you decided to bring Canada to the 2% spending when it comes to NATO this year is really fantastic.
More difficult conversations could come for Carney when he meets with his Indian counterpart later today. Canada is trying to rebuild that relationship, while an RCMP investigation has connected the Modi government to homicides and extortions in this country. It's a claim the Indian government has refuted. Mike Couture, CTV News, Kananaskis, Alberta.
Pure Country 89, Windsor's country music station. Pure access to the biggest stars and the hottest songs. Download the free iHeartRadio app to listen to Pure Country everywhere.
All summer-like conditions made for a great backdrop today to a barbecue over at Windsor Police HQ downtown in support of the Windsor Cancer Center Foundation. Officers, cadets, and staff came out to grill hot dogs over the lunch hour, raising money for the foundation and its support of cancer patients in the region. Funds go towards local equipment, research, and patient initiatives not otherwise funded by the province.
You know, we're always happy to get an email or a phone call from Hawaii to Kasem, who reaches out to us regularly to have our members participate in the fundraising. And, you know, we're happy to be included. And it's been, if there's one thing I say about being a member of the Windsor Police Service at an executive level, it's the degree to which the community groups have included their police service in participating in good causes. And that really does mean a lot to us.
Okay, Gary is back with a wrap of the 7-day forecast. Gary, as you outlined earlier, a hot one that's going to continue, and we're watching for maybe some inclement weather as well.
Yes, you're right. Tomorrow afternoon, in fact, showers turning into thunderstorms with gusty winds. There's a good possibility of that. late afternoon through the evening, supper time for most, right? 6, 7 p.m. and beyond. 30 degrees. We'll reach that around 4:30 p.m. Wednesday afternoon. The showers continue into Thursday morning. Temperatures dropping off to a seasonal or average 26, and then it's 28 and upwards from there. Sunny through the first day of summer. It actually starts Friday night. Saturday, though, the first full day, 31, feeling like 37. Into the low 30s, feeling like up to 40 next week. That's a look at your weather. A steamy next 6, 7 days. Have yourselves a good night and a cool one. We'll see you tomorrow. Ricardo?
Okay, Gary, thank you. Yes, summer coming in like a freight train. Well, finally for us tonight, a grade 8 student from Windsor has been named the top youth scientist in Canada. And our Stephanie Mazzotti caught up with the budding researcher.
Our most vulnerable populations are the ones that usually take the most medications. For example, people who are aging, people who have chronic conditions.
One of those aging people is Tricia Holder's grandmother. Holder wondered what the possible dangers her grandmother could face while taking multiple medications at once, a practice which is known as polypharmacy.
The more medications you take, the higher the risk of developing an adverse drug interaction. And this can lead to, if not managed properly, this can lead to potentially dangerous interactions, such as increased bleeding risks.
This is what inspired her award-winning science fair project that launched at École Bellwood Elementary School. Holder created a visual drug interaction checker that helps medical professionals, researchers, and people at home assess how different drugs interact.
For example, patients, like my grandma, who take multiple medications, can use my tool to basically quickly input in their medications and check if they have interactions. And they can use this information to have more informed conversations with healthcare professionals.
Her project was one of 5 selected to represent Windsor, Essex at the 2025 Canada-wide Science Fair in New Brunswick, where she earned multiple awards, including the prestigious Platinum Award, recognizing her as Best in Show for her age category.
I think I'm still kind of in disbelief. It's been a few weeks now, but honestly, it was really surprising.
A surprising experience she will never forget.
I got to meet multiple people from all across Canada and see what amazing solutions they have developed to problems that you and me, we face every single day.
Holder is going to Vincent Massey High School in September. Long term, she's hoping to go to university for biotechnology. Stephanie Mazzotti, CTV News.
Oh, very cool. One of our best and brightest. Congratulations. Excited to see what she comes up with next. Well, that is our time this evening. We'll see you next tomorrow at 6. Until then, I'm Ricardo Veneza, and for everyone here at CTV on both sides of the camera, have a fantastic night.